I'm about to tell you something that sounds completely wrong, but it might save you thousands of dollars. Buying a brand new Toyota, the car everyone calls smart and reliable, can actually be one of the worst value decisions you make. Not because Toyota is bad, but because for the same money, you could be driving a real luxury car. Quieter, faster, more comfortable, and honestly, way more satisfying every single day. The problem is, most people never see these options because they don't understand one simple concept: depreciation. And once you understand it, you start seeing deals everywhere. Today, I'm going to show you 3 luxury cars that cost less than a new Toyota, and by the end, your idea of smart buying might completely change. Here's what most people don't realize. The moment a brand new car leaves the dealership, it loses value instantly. But not all cars lose value the same way. A Toyota loses value slowly, which sounds good, but it also means you're paying close to full price. Luxury cars, on the other hand, drop hard, sometimes 40 to 50% in just a few years. The first owner takes that hit. You don't. So instead of buying a basic brand new car, you can buy a slightly used luxury car for the same price or even less. That's the entire game. And once you see it, you can't ignore it. Let's start with the easiest and smartest option. The Lexus ES 350 is basically what happens when you take everything good about Toyota and push it to the maximum level. Same parent company, same reputation for reliability, but everything feels more refined. When you close the door, it sounds solid. When you drive, it's almost silent. The ride quality is so smooth that bumps just disappear. And inside, you get soft-touch materials, real leather, and a level of comfort that makes long drives feel effortless. Now here's the key part. A used 2 to 4-year-old ES 350 in the US market usually sits around $27K to $32K. That's literally the same price as a new Camry. So your decision becomes simple. Do you want a basic, brand new car, or a proven luxury sedan that feels like a huge upgrade every time you drive it? And the best part? Maintenance isn't scary. Because it's a Lexus, reliability is still top tier. The only downside people mention is the infotainment system being slightly outdated, but honestly, most people forget about that after a week. What they don't forget is how comfortable and quiet the car feels every single day. Let's review the next one. Now, maybe you're not just looking for comfort, you want something that actually feels fun. That's where the Acura Integra comes in. Built on the same foundation as the Honda Civic, this car already starts with one huge advantage: reliability. It's proven, it's affordable to maintain, and parts are everywhere. But Acura takes that base and upgrades the experience. The design is sharper, the interior feels more premium, and the driving experience is noticeably more engaging. It's quicker, more responsive, and just more enjoyable overall compared to a typical Toyota sedan. Inside, you get a cleaner layout, better materials, and features that make it feel modern without being complicated. And price-wise, it lands right in that same $30K range as a mid to high trim Camry. So instead of driving something you see at every traffic light, you're driving something that feels slightly more premium, slightly more unique, and just more interesting overall. The trade-off? It's not as soft and quiet as the Lexus, but that's because it's designed to feel more alive. And for a lot of people, that's exactly what makes it worth it. Quick pause. If you're starting to realize how different the car market actually is once you understand depreciation, hit subscribe, because most people never learn this, and they end up overpaying for years without even realizing it. There are way more hidden deals like this, and once you see them, you'll never look at car prices the same way again.
Now this is the one that completely changes the conversation. The Cadillac CT4 is not something most Toyota buyers would even consider, and that's exactly why it's such a powerful option. A lightly used 2020 to 2022 CT4 often drops into the low to mid $20K range. That's cheaper than many new Toyotas. But the experience is completely different. First, it's rear-wheel drive, which instantly gives it a more balanced and sporty feel compared to the front-wheel drive Camry. The steering feels sharper, the handling is tighter, and overall it just feels more engaging to drive. On top of that, the design stands out. It looks more aggressive, more modern, and definitely more premium when you see it on the road. Inside, you get a clean, driver-focused layout with solid materials and modern tech.
And while Cadillac had reliability issues in the past, newer models have improved a lot. It's not Lexus level, but it's far from the old reputation people still assume. The downside? Rear seat space is tighter and it's not as soft as a Lexus. But if you actually enjoy driving, this car gives you something a Toyota simply can't: real driving feel.
Now, this is the one that completely changes the conversation. The Cadillac CT4 is not something most Toyota buyers would even think about, and that's exactly why it's such a powerful option. Because when a car gets overlooked, that's usually where the best value hides. A lightly used 2020 to 2022 CT4 often drops into the low to mid 20K range, which means it's sitting right there with brand new economy cars. But the experience you get is on a completely different level. First, it's rear-wheel drive, and that alone changes everything. Compared to a front-wheel drive Camry, the CT4 feels more balanced, more planted, and much more connected to the road. The steering is sharper, the handling is tighter, and when you take a corner, you actually feel the car working with you instead of just getting through it. It's the kind of difference you notice within minutes of driving. Then there's the design. This car doesn't blend in, it stands out. It looks more aggressive, more modern, and definitely more premium when you see it on the road or even parked. Inside, you get a clean, driver-focused layout with solid materials, intuitive controls, and just enough tech to feel modern without being overwhelming. It feels like a car built around the driver, not just transportation. And about reliability, yes, Cadillac had a rough reputation years ago, but newer models have improved a lot. It's not at the level of Lexus, but it's far from the old stereotype people still hold on to. For most owners, it's been a stable and predictable experience, especially compared to what people expect. Now, to be fair, there are trade-offs. The rear seat is tighter than a Camry, and the ride isn't as soft as something like a Lexus ES, but that's because this car is built with a different purpose. It's not trying to isolate you from the road. It's trying to connect you to it. And if you actually enjoy driving, that's where the CT4 becomes something special. It gives you a level of engagement and personality that a typical Toyota simply can't offer at this price.
So now, think about it like this. For the price of one brand new Toyota, you're not choosing between good and bad. You're choosing between three completely different experiences. The Lexus ES 350 gives you that effortless comfort and peace of mind, the kind of car that makes every drive feel quiet, smooth, and stress-free. The Acura Integra sits right in the middle. It's practical, reliable, but also adds that extra layer of fun and personality that most economy cars just don't have. And then the Cadillac CT4 shifts everything toward driving feel, giving you something more engaging, more responsive, and honestly, more exciting every time you get behind the wheel. None of these cars are cheap in what they offer. They were all designed to compete in higher segments, but because of depreciation, they drop into a price range where they suddenly become incredible value. And that's where the real mindset shift happens. Instead of asking, what's the safest car I can buy? You start asking, what's the best experience I can get for my money? Because at this price point, you're not limited anymore. You actually have options. You can prioritize comfort or performance or balance, depending on what matters to you. And that's something most buyers never even consider, because they've already convinced themselves that a new economy car is the only logical choice. But once you step back and look at it clearly, you realize you're not just buying a car. You're choosing how you want to feel every single day you drive.
At the end of the day, the biggest mistake people make isn't buying a bad car. It's simply not knowing what else exists at the same price. A brand new Toyota is still a good car, no doubt. It's reliable, predictable, and easy to own. But what most people don't realize is they're paying a premium for that simplicity. And once you start looking at the market differently, you begin to see the trade-off. You're not just buying reliability, you're giving up comfort, performance, and overall experience without even realizing it. Because here's the thing, depreciation changes everything. The first owner of a luxury car takes the biggest financial hit. By the time that car is 2 to 4 years old, it's already dropped into a price range where it directly competes with brand new economy cars. And that's where the opportunity is. That's where you, as a smarter buyer, step in. Now, think about your actual daily driving. You spend hours every week in your car,
Traffic, long drives, late nights. Would you rather sit in something basic or something that actually feels comfortable, quiet, and premium? Cars like the Lexus ES 350 completely change that experience with their smooth ride and near-silent cabins. Something like the Acura Integra gives you that balance. Still reliable, still practical, but with just enough performance and style to make driving enjoyable again. And then you have something like the Cadillac CT4, which shifts the focus completely toward driving feel, rear-wheel drive, sharper handling, and a personality that a typical sedan just doesn't have. And it's not just about how the car drives, it's also about how it makes you feel. The way it looks when you walk up to it, the way it feels when you sit inside, the way people perceive it. These are things most buyers don't think about at first, but over time, they matter more than expected. A car isn't just transport, it's something you interact with every single day. Of course, there are trade-offs. A used luxury car might have slightly higher maintenance costs, or maybe not the latest infotainment system. But when you compare that to what you're gaining, better comfort, stronger performance, and a more premium experience, the value starts to make a lot more sense. It's not about choosing the cheapest option, it's about choosing the smartest overall package. So now the question really comes down to you. Knowing all this, would you still go for a brand new Toyota, or would you take advantage of depreciation and step into something better for the same price? Let me know in the comments. I actually read them. And if you want more videos like this, where we break down real car buying strategies that most people completely overlook, hit subscribe. Because once you start seeing these opportunities, it completely changes how you look at cars.